You have an after the credits scene. It's a little bit it's after the main credits, but not after the whole credits. Yeah. Talk a little bit about how that specifically came about, and let's talk with that.
Yeah, well, that's like what he said. That was the last thing to be put in the movie. You know, that was because he went back and forth 100 times. Nobody knew what to do, you know, whether it's the studio or us or the producer, Will and Martin. We're like, do we put it in or not? And we did from those like 8 or 10 test screenings, we screened it with and without all the time. And eventually, by screening it without, the audience felt like they needed some kind of closure with one of the characters, and that's what we put it back in, you know, but really close to the title, not like in a Marvel movie after the credits, because it's not a superhero movie, so that's why we decided to put it in, just to have that closure. And you know, who knows, maybe if the movie is successful, there might be another one.
Well, what I want to know is, well, first of all, when did you actually film that? Was it during the actual shoot?
No, that was we shot that in a reshoot. So it was actually after our first test screening of the director's cut that we saw, we have to fill in these storylines. Yeah. So that was a decision that we made.
And actually because we only had 65 shooting days, there were some scenes that we didn't have time to shoot, and we knew that we were going to shoot that in additional photography. So we had already planned the days that we were going to shoot new stuff, and that's what that idea came about. Like, hey, let's shoot it and let's try it, because nobody was sure whether or not we had to put that in the movie.
Sure. Was there an idea that you almost did for the after the credits, or was it always that scene in that jail cell?
Well, there was an idea to do like something with humor. You know, we had some of the jokes, and we did that actually. So the joke with Martin in the airplane, we put that like a little bit later. So it was always an idea some of the jokes that we had to cut or make shorter, if you could put something humoristic at the end, but not necessarily a scene. That scene was the only new thing that we came up during the editing.
I think, and I'm sure you're going to agree with this, but I think almost every movie can benefit from additional photography after the first edit and after the first test screening, because you learn what you need. Yeah. It's really hard to get it all on the shoot. Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah. The reshoot changed the movie. So that's it's when you start the movie and you start to shoot, you never know 100% what the movie is gonna be. Yeah. So after the shoot, you see all the things all the story beats you need, and it was not a lot, but it changed.
It's like little stuff. And for us, I mean, other directors that are really geniuses, they can do it right away without any reshoot. It's pitch perfect from the start. But we're not on that level of genius yet, or maybe we'll never be. But our movies we did in Belgium, we always had reshoots. And reshoots, that's something you don't do in Belgium. There's no money for it. But we always do it like with a small crew, and we steal some shots. And it's because in the edit, it's as if the movie has its own soul and tells you what it wants to be. So if it wants to be a love story and you wanted to do a lot of action and stuff, no, you're gonna have to shoot some more love scenes.
But also with this movie specifically, and you've touched on this, this is a very unusual tone, because it has to have action, it has to have comedy, it has to have drama, and it's about figuring out the balance of those three things. Yeah. It's not one thing, which I think is maybe a little easier to shoot on its first try. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. And that's also, you know, sometimes we had like an action sequence and it never worked. And then you just realize, but there's only action. There's nothing of character in that scene. So you shoot some extra character scenes in the reshoots, and then the whole action sequence start to work. And that's what the editing, what the movie, what the test audience tells you, basically.